the cycle of time. 250 miles above the Earth on the Space Station 9, Dr. Kaplan had put the last of the children's files in a transporter. It had been several days since Auric's disappearance, and anyone associated with D510 was scrambling to conceal all traces and records of the children's project on the space station. Dr. Kaplan was the head researcher and physician on the project. He was a tall, thin-built man with thin gray hair, with long wrinkled fingers, and he often seemed to blend in with the white room. Some years ago, as a young physician, he had acquired some sacred information while traveling to a small village in Guyana with some colleagues to study some rare herbs used as medicine by some of the local villagers. It was there that Dr. Kaplan and the 3 other travelers that accompanied him were told the story of the cycle of time. Most people would think this kind of story was hogwash, but Dr. Kaplan was infatuated with the story and became obsessed with it. On his return to the States in the mid-1980s, he left his position at a prominent hospital in California, a move that none of his colleagues could fathom, as he eventually would have been considered the next chief of surgery, a position that his father held at that time, and nepotism was definitely inherited at this hospital. But whenever given a chance to explore new avenues in biotechnology, even if it's based on some wild tale, money and facilities would be provided. His father contacted a few of his associates, and within a few months, the junior Dr. Kaplan was off to Ohio and was now chairman of a small department at a research hospital. The first few years seemed to have proven the project to be a failure. The blood and tissue specimens that were collected through voluntary clinical trials did not show anything of significance. Dr. Kaplan thought at that time that it would be wise to shut the whole project down. It had been 5 years, and he had not published a single paper. One night, he received a phone call from his former colleague that had traveled with him to Guyana, and also never forgot the unusual story that was told to them. Dr. Petrov, a staunch, straightforward man from Kazakhstan, was now specializing in aerospace medicine, convinced Dr. Kaplan to continue his research in a rather unconventional way. He explained to Dr. Kaplan that he found his research to be enlightening, and that it would be good for all of humanity, to which Dr. Kaplan was skeptical and was unmoved by Dr. Petrov's Save Humanity Act. "How do you know of my research, and what do you want from me?" asked Dr. Kaplan. "You were right. It is not my personality to put on such a charade, so I will get to the point. Your father contacted me and told me you were researching the star children. He also said you were on your last leg and thinking of closing the lab. I also was intrigued that night, which is why I focused my life's work in aerospace medicine. I want to offer you an opportunity to perform your clinical trials in space." "What?" asked Dr. Kaplan. "You will have unquestionable autonomy and limitless resources. I will arrange for a small staff to accompany you onto the station. You can conduct your studies, and your father and I will take care of everything else." Both men agreed. Dr. Kaplan moved his lab to the Space Station 9 while D510 was converted into a storage room. Once on the space station, Dr. Kaplan settled into his new life with ease. He didn't have much of a choice since he had sold his home and gotten rid of most of his belongings. Now, after 28 years in space, Dr. Kaplan was preparing to leave the station. He had only returned to the planet twice, once for his mother's funeral and then several years later to bury his father, during which he secretly met with his younger brother, who now held his father's position as chief surgeon. Dr. Kaplan had to make sure his work on the station would continue to be funded and protected. "Dr. Kaplan, your transport is ready," said his assistant Lara. "You go along, Lara. I will take the next one."